from the Caribbean. It's Jennifer Harding-Marlin, a Canadian Caribbean attorney. Thank you to all the subscribers to this channel for your feedback. I have yet to get a quality microphone, so I apologize in advance for the sound quality of this video. I've been getting a lot of requests about talking about how I became a pilot and about flying around the Caribbean, so I thought I'd do a video dedicated towards this topic. So a couple of years ago, I decided that I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to have the freedom to be able to travel from any Caribbean island to another, similarly to getting in a car by just getting into a plane and flying from one place to another. So I did some research and I discovered that one of the most affordable options to do the pilot training is to do it in Quebec, in Canada, which is where I'm originally from. And it was really interesting when I was doing my research. I found that a lot of people from China as well as France, they come to Quebec to do their training. So I dedicated 1 month during the summer to every day flying. So I fly in the morning and then I fly in the afternoon. I do that 7 times a week. And I did this for an entire month, really intensely. So most people will do it over the course of a longer period of time, but I was really pressed for time and I thought it was easier to learn this way, so I did it this way. And so after about 20 hours of flying, they have you do your first takeoff and landing by yourself. I was really stressed, so I did the takeoff, the circuit, landed, got out of the plane, shook off the nerves, and then they have you go back again and do about 10 touch and goes, and you overcome your fear of taking off and landing by yourself. So I ended up doing that, and then as part of becoming a pilot, you have to do solo voyage when you travel from one airport to another, and you get your student pilot book stamped. So I did that. I actually managed to get lost while I was flying. They have you do it without any electronics, so you have a map. You have a map, you're reading off the map, and you're flying a plane at the same time. And so I did that, and then after about over 50 hours of practicing different maneuvers, such as turns and what to do in a situation of emergency, and other flying skills that you acquire throughout learning how to fly, then you have your exam, your practical exam, so that's one component, and then you also have what some people find the most challenging is the written component of becoming a pilot. So you have to study for an exam. I ended up studying for the exam on my own, so you have to be really motivated to pick up the book, read, and really learn about the mechanics of the plane, as well as many other topics surrounding aviation. So that was that, and I am part of a group on Facebook called Les Aides Québécois, and so I'm sure that in a lot of different regions, there's different websites where you can interact with other people that are really passionate about aviation, and so through this website, I've been able to meet other pilots in Quebec, and I've been on fishing expeditions and Cree villages up north in Canada, as well as we've gone camping, fishing, whale watching, and other such expeditions. And then in the Caribbean, I've had the opportunity, so one of my colleagues has a plane. It's a Piper Navajo. I've never flown in the Caribbean by myself, so I've always flown as a co-pilot with somebody else. And so I've had the opportunity to fly from like Cayman Islands to Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, St. Martin, St. Kitts Nevis, Antigua, Anguilla. I've done Dominica. I had the most stressful landing of my life in Dominica. I've been to St. Lucia, Martinique, Guadeloupe, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Barbados. I've been all the way up to like Turks and Caicos, lots of other islands in the Bahamas. Which is really great in the Caribbean is that, you know, to fly, for example, from Nevis to St. Martin can be like less than half an hour. Sometimes you'll spend more time getting the plane ready, as well as preparing the trip as opposed to actual flight time. And what's really interesting is there's lots of small islands with that runways and places that you otherwise might not be able to get to easily, which you can when you have a small plane flying around the Caribbean. So it's been a really great opportunity. Unfortunately, right now, the plane is in Quebec in Canada. And due to COVID-19, it's really hard to fly from one Caribbean island to another due to quarantine, as well as other restrictions. So I haven't had the chance to fly since July. Hopefully, I will be able to resume flying. I know flying is something that you really need to do and maintain in order to be competent. So obviously, I will be flying with people that have a lot more experience than I do the next times I go flying. But it's a really great opportunity. Lots of people that are, if you're interested in flying, you can probably do an hour flight lesson to see if it really interests you, find an airport nearby you and get information about flying. And I think that's really interesting is that flying has really helped my business, and I think it helps entrepreneurs. Like there's a lot of lessons that I learned in aviation that really can translate into the business world. So for example, preparation is key. When you're flying, you really need to make sure that you've done check the weather, you've done filed any flight plans, that you've made sure that you're well rested, that you know what you're doing, that the plane, everything's functioning properly. And then you have to be willing to change course if there's a storm, unexpected storm, or something happens in flight. And I think the same has to go with business. You really have to prepare, mitigate risks, anticipate what the risks are, but also at the same time be willing to change. So that's one of the lessons that I learned in flying that I really think translates well into the business world. As well, you know, your perspective is completely different when you're flying over a Caribbean island, or you're flying over in Canada over trees. Like, you have a really aerial view of a problem, and so there's a lot, it makes you think in business that you can look at the problem from many different angles. So really sometimes getting the big picture is key. I think really like staying as well, another lesson that I learned from flying is staying true to your core values. You know, you can accelerate, decelerate, you know, change angles, but it's always like the plane has to be in equilibrium and be balanced. And I think the same is true in business. Like, you can focus more on one aspect at a certain period of time and then change that, but you really have to stay true to your core values. I think another lesson in aviation, which is really important in business, is staying humble. So a lot of aviation accidents happen when somebody's cocky. It's often human error. So I think that in business as well, like really staying humble and true to yourself is really important. If not, I think there can be consequences similar to aviation. And I think also a really important lesson is constantly be learning. So it takes hours of hard work to become a pilot and to maintain your competence, and to really you will have to constantly want to learn, develop, and increase your knowledge. The same goes for business. If it's reading more books, if it's networking, if it's going out more to meet more people, if it's doing whatever you have to for your business to make it work. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to show you the plane. If you wanted me to talk about more specific airports or specific countries I've been to, I can do that in a separate video if you want. So always appreciate your feedback, and I'll be hopefully trying to be more consistent in posting videos. So I wish you all a good day. All the best. Bye. Bye.